Oh, hey. I didn't see you there. What, this? Oh, it's nothing. It's just a story about a girl named Stories, who tried to trick people into thinking she was 8 years old. What, you haven't heard of it before? Well, let me tell you, my friend. Just let me clear my throat out. Okay.
Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, a place called YouTube existed. And while people made videos left and right, there was a little girl named Stories. Now, she tried making YouTube videos, but she did not stand out, mostly because of her name. If you were to search it on the YouTube search list, you'd come up with scary stories. Oh no, what would Stories ever do? Well, in order to stand out, she would have to make some controversy. So, in order to stir up trouble...
Oh, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. Alright. So, basically, in order to get recognized, she had to, think outside the box and start a little controversy of her own. And what better controversy than, lying about your age? Now, understandably, people of all ages upload to YouTube. Nobody really cares about your age, but Stories found a way to make it a little bit more intriguing. She would kind of feed into the fact that she's 8 years old. Maybe every other video she would talk about her age. She'd also try to stir the pot a little bit every once in a while, just to make sure that people are left knowing that she's 8 years old. But I'm here to tell you now, boys and girls, that she's not really 8 years old. And while nobody will really know how old Stories really is outside of people who personally know her, I have some pretty damning evidence that says otherwise. Now, the two biggest things I'm going to be pointing out come from biology and dialect. First off, biology. At the time of this recording, Stories has made 3 videos that reveal her actual voice. And while her most recent video using her actual voice has some pretty damning evidence that goes against the age that she says she is, I'm not going to be using that because it covers a serious issue and I don't want to use that in something so lighthearted like my video. So in the meantime, I'm just going to be using her Tips for New Ranters video and the Origin of Animation Memes video. Now this is what Stories, who is supposedly 9 years old at this time, sounds like.
However, with new meat coming through, that means there's inexperience to come with it. As someone who's pretty much new to the ranting community, but I've been lurking since 2014, so I'm not that young, or at least, damn, I hope not.
And this is what Past Halloween sounds like, who is 14 years old.
People make drama out of anything. I didn't make it to get views or jump on a bandwagon. Well, actually, I technically did jump on a bandwagon, but the reason why I made it is because someone asked me my opinion on Penegrin's videos, and
Do you kind of notice something a little bit off about Stories' speech? Well, it's really freaking low. So low, in fact, it sounds like someone who's already reached the peak of puberty. If not, has already gone through puberty. Now, puberty usually occurs in girls between the ages of 10 and 14, and in boys it occurs later, between the ages of 12 and 16. And while there are outliers, Stories' voice should sound a little bit closer to Past Halloween's tones, instead of being as low as they really are. And sure, you could argue genetics and that people don't have the same voices, but at her age, and a voice as deep as that, it should sound crackly or that there's something lodged in her throat. And while I could keep talking about this, we're going to go over a little bit more evidence, into something that I like to call the dialect situation. Now, I want you to listen to any child out there, anyone between the ages of 5 and 14. And if you listen closely, you'll notice something similar along the lines of how they talk. And this is what I call the Youngin dialect. I don't care how well spoken you are, where you're raised, what language you speak, no matter what, if you're between these ages, you're going to have the Youngin dialect. Now, describing the Youngin dialect is a little bit hard, and that's because it's sort of how they pronounce things like their B's, P's, S's, and N's, but it's also the way they speak. While it's not necessarily an accent, it's sort of in every kid. I promise you, if you listen to any kid on YouTube that's around the ages of 5 to 14, you'll notice this accent in every one of them. It's there, and I promise you it exists and you have heard it before. But when you listen to stories, she doesn't have it. Which leads me into thinking that she's a little bit older than she says she is. But if you don't believe me, outside of everything I've talked about so far, I have one more thing that might give it away. And this is her little Freudian slip. In her video titled NSFW Animation Meme Rant, she says something that kind of contradicts something else that she's been trying to push out.
I remember knowing what sex was at 7 years old because the radio songs told me what it was. I learned more over the years. I learned more over the years. I learned more over the years.
Now, at the time of this video, she says she was 8 years old. But a few years between 7 and 8 doesn't really add up. Now, could this be a little error? Sure, but I kind of think it's more of a slip than an error. Okay, so maybe she's not 8 years old, or 9, considering it was apparently her birthday, just a while ago. So what? Why would someone go out of their way to lie about their age, and consistently try to push it out as if it was some sort of an agenda? Well, I kind of have a theory about that. You see, I think Stories is more of a character, some sort of ruse, something that's fictional and not actually a representation of the person behind her. To me, Stories is a mysterious character. It's not actually a person. It's an activity that allows the creator to drop a mystery time and time again for people to go out of their way and solve. This is why they keep trying to bring up their age over and over again, video after video, after it's been talked to death. This is why they want to keep things going. It's part of the mystery. And a little tidbit I noticed in their banner is that their Twitter name is Who Is Stories. And while that could just be a name, I think it adds a little bit to the mystery. It helps solidify the fact that Stories, the character, is just a mystery that needs to be solved, and that nobody really seems to have done so. Now, could I be completely wrong on this theory? Yes, in fact, I think I could be far away from the true answer. Maybe it is an actual person who thinks they're 8. Maybe it's just someone who says they're 8 because it's a meme. But my theory stands with me, and I think that is the more plausible thing to come about Stories' channel. So while the creator of Stories might not actually be 8, Stories the character could definitely be so. And while it makes a lot of sense to me, I hope you guys can share your opinions on Stories. But I also hope this video helped tweak your mind a little bit on how you think about who Stories actually is. Did you believe that they're 8 years old, but now think they're actually not? Or did this just solidify your thought that they actually are 8 or 9 years old? Just let me know in the comments, and I'd love to have a discussion about it. But until then, my name is Staxlotl, and for every subscribe I get for this video, I become 1 year older. So smack that until I become the furry equivalent of a 1,000-year-old anime schoolgirl. And I'll see you in the next video. Also, big thanks to Past Halloween for letting me use her videos. It was really nice of her. Helped me solidify the points I was making in this video. So yeah, go check her out.